Hey y'all, it's your boy Black Socrates from Mental Dialogue, where all I ask is that you think. And today I want to give you my 3 cents on African Americans practicing group economics. Something that we say, well, black people can't come together, and we never think about why that is and what effectively makes us, envious of one another, or as some people suggest, we play crabs in the barrel and pull each other down, but we fail to actually diagnose what the real issue is. And the biggest problem is we have a distrust for one another that doesn't allow us to do business with one another in the same that other cultures may do. And this is not to applaud other cultures, but in America specifically, this is an issue. When you go, from what I've been told, when you go to different countries within Africa, you just don't see issues. So there has definitely been a lingering effect during the post-traumatic slave syndrome that we're suffering from, and we don't ever really address it because we don't like to look back. But failing to realize we're not going to diagnose or fix this problem if we don't. It's the same as if you see someone with a mental health issue. If you don't know that they have a mental health issue and you see them act in a way that doesn't make sense or that is inappropriate, and we'll continue to ask, well, why are they inappropriate? If they've never been diagnosed with the mental health issue, then you will never know, and the actions will continue. But if you actually diagnose the actual issue, then somehow they may get help and improve in the actions. Well, that's how we've carried on. We've never addressed the historical distrust that has been passed down since our 246 years of enslavement. And people say, well, that was 400 years ago. Well, we're looking at the exact same results, and you will see that there's this historical distrust that makes us say, well, for example, go into a black-owned business and we receive what we consider service not up to par, and we will indict every business thereafter without ever thinking how many times McDonald's done messed up your order, but you're still going to McDonald's. And McDonald's is actually killing you. And I'm not saying that we should allow our black, our brothers and sisters in business to give us subpar business, because every business should strive for excellence in order to continue and stay in business. But at the same time, just saying being realistic versus taking just one scenario and applying it to all. Just because one Chinese restaurant does you wrong, you may not go back there, but you go to others. We will indict all African Americans in business and make these historical assumptions that black businesses are not up to par, which is very unfair, because I can show you just as many that are. But when we have such this historical distrust, that we also are unfair, and our expectations are so low that one mishap turns us off. Well, I will tell you, if we're ever going to leave a legacy and actually gain wealth in this capitalistic society, not get rich. Rich can be gone tomorrow. Wealth is passed down generation from generation, but we've never really had this focus outside of maybe during segregation. There were definitely African American enclaves that existed, but unfortunately, a lot of times the major ones, Tulsa, Oklahoma comes to mind, formerly known as Black Wall Street. Negro Wall Street at the time, but Black Wall Street was actually burned, by whites who were upset. And then for other African American enclaves during urban revitalization, major highways were ran right down the city and divided and broke up those enclaves, so they were no sisters. Unfortunately, these are realities that have taken place and have played a role in why, as a people, we haven't been able to gain wealth, along with housing discrimination throughout the country, which is another subject. But now, in 2014, what can we do? Well, it's time that we take an economic focus in a way that we've never had. Like my boy Mark Ranger says, we've had civil rights movements, we've had political movements per se, but we've never focused on the capital, which is crazy in a capitalistic society. You get that? Capital. In a capitalistic society, we've been without it. The wealth gap between whites and blacks right now is larger than it was in 1967, but yet we still are focused on the money and getting rich, and we're doing it specifically in a selfish way. Because why do we do it selfishly? Because we don't trust that we can do business with one another, and we literally get yours. And as a people, we often act shamefully for the dollar because we don't value ourselves. But if we actually look back and see what happened to us, then we can say, okay, there's no longer no reason for distrust to the extent that we cannot and will not support one another. Two concepts we fail to understand in the community due to this distrust. We don't understand how to circulate the black dollar. There's a study that shows our dollar circulates for 6 hours in our community, but other cultures 17, 20, and 25 days. Based on the culture or the city that they're in, the dollar will circulate. Well, here's the beauty of circulating the dollar. If I have a service that costs $1 and you actually buy, pay for my service, and then the next week I come back and pay $1 for your service, well, if we do that from week to week throughout the full year, that $1 has circulated, and we no longer need to add additional dollar to keep our relationship going. Well, that applies with money overall in a community. If we're circulating dollars within the community, then you need less money to maintain that community. So then, therefore, when you get extra money, whether it's through jobs or through your own personal business, the additional money that comes in the community now is allowed to build up that infrastructure of that community or your individual wealth, because you're actually, the circulation of the dollar is actually sustaining the community. Now you can get into progress mode and not just survival mode. So that's a concept that we must come to understand, is the circulation of the black dollar. The other issue that we fail to understand is the idea of reciprocation and how that works. For example, I have my MentalDialogue live events, and vendors say, okay, you have 20, 30 people come out on a Friday night. Let me come out and present my business to your group. And I say, well, that's fine, but first once 10 people you've been, especially the multi-level marketers, they will just run from that. They're not going to come and let someone sell their product to them, only if they can come sell to my group, which is, once again, a mistake. It's not allowing reciprocation. And same thing, for example, we'll see the same issue with your service is $10 and my service is $20. Well, you gonna run and not do business with me because I'm getting over is the concept. That's the negative distrust that we have that makes you see that scenario as I'm getting over because my service, with two different services, but my services is going to cost, we only want to trade the service. We're looking for the hookup, and because we become a hookup mentality, in our community, to the extent that it actually is detrimental in doing business. We'll do the advance everything. Our family member will go into business, and we go into the business, and first thing we're looking for, because this is our family member, put a hookup on the services, on the actual product. We're looking for a hookup, forgetting that to start that business, your family member is in the hole. So the last thing I would ever want to do when my family member is in business, I want to pay full price, because I understand that they're trying to run an effective business. I don't go into other cultural businesses, unless it's a market, some type of market where you can actually, try to bargain down. But I go in the mall, I look at the price tag, decide whether I can afford it or not. So why wouldn't I support my own brother or sister going into their business and say, okay, can I afford this, and accept the price as it is? But now we be like, hey brother, can I talk to you? So get the idea of a hookup, and understanding that you are not reciprocating. I see it with people in business. Like when I was in the music industry, another quick example. Me and my boy, who was an artist, we would have our CD, and another artist who we respected. We get on that circuit and respect it. And I would say, well, let's exchange CDs. And they want me to pay for their CD versus me, definitely not wanting to pay for mine. And I'm saying, well, we in the same industry, so why would we exchange? You're missing out on the opportunity to gain a fan or a couple more fans by exchanging CDs, because you needed to get yours, needed to get mine. Well, rich is what a lot of people are after. Rich can be gone tomorrow. Wealth is what we need to be after, but we've never done it. As wealth is passed down generation to generation. The wealth gap in this country is, for between blacks and whites right now, is worse than it was in 1967. So we've seen progression in a lot of areas, but because we've never focused and made a conscious effort to spend a dollar with our community first, we haven't gained wealth with these practices and principles that I just spoke of. So we must make a conscious effort to spend what our own or forever be begging. I'm out. Your boy Black Socrates from MentalDialogue. You can find this video under hashtag just my 3 cents, hashtag MentalDialogue.